certain. So you got like a 4-cylinder, right? You got a 6-cylinder, you got an 8-cylinder. I even heard somebody talking about a 12-cylinder. Now, most people hear that and they think that's just about cars. But I'm telling you, that's about you. That's about your engine. That's about the fuel that drives your life. The 4-cylinder is the guy who shows up. He got skill. He's got talent, maybe a little drive, but he's operating at half capacity. He's capable of more, but he's not willing to go deeper. Then you got a 6-cylinder. Now he's got more energy, more capacity, but he's still not unleashing his full potential. 8-cylinder, that's the guy who's committed, the guy who's willing to go through the pain, willing to grind when nobody's watching. 12-cylinder, that's the person who wakes up every morning on fire, who can't wait to go to work, to life, to the gym, to the grind, to the challenge, to the problem, because he knows that everything he does is feeding that engine that's already built to perform at the highest level. Now, let me break this down for you. Everybody's got skill. Everybody's got a little talent, a little knowledge. You might be 6'10", 68. You got the wingspan, you got the tools, you got the body. But skill alone doesn't separate you from the next person. Will is power. Will is the gas in the tank. Will is when everybody else wants to quit and you're still in the gym. Will is when your mind says no. Your body is screaming, but your heart says yes. That's what separates the 4-cylinder from the 12-cylinder. You can have two dudes on the court, both the same height, same skill set, same knowledge of the game, same fundamentals, but one's a 4-cylinder, one's a 12-cylinder. Guess who's winning that matchup? It's not the skill, it's not the talent, it's the drive. It's the willingness to go harder, longer, deeper than the other guy. And that drive isn't always something you can measure in hours. It's something you measure in intensity, in focus, in obsession with purpose. See, the 4-cylinder guy, he's worried about comfort. He's worried about the recovery. He's worried about the travel. He's worried about the practice. He's worried about the film. He's worried about the workouts. The average person that says, I want to make it, they're lying to themselves, because if they really wanted to make it, they would embrace everything, the good, the bad, the grind, the pain, the injury, the sacrifice. But most people want the glory without the grind. They want the paycheck without the preparation. They want the reward without the work. And that's why they operate like a 4-cylinder when they were born with a 12-cylinder inside of them. Here's the crazy part. Your engine is already inside you. The 12-cylinder is already in there waiting. It's not outside somewhere. It's not about a new coach, not about a new program, not about a new book. It's in you. And when you figure out what your purpose is, when you put your why at the forefront of your mind, when you wake up thinking about that purpose every single morning, you stop operating like a 4-cylinder. You stop whining about the practice, about the film, about the workouts, about the travel, about the hard stuff. You become unstoppable because your engine is on fire. You become the 12-cylinder, and that's how you separate yourself from the average. That's how you take what's already inside of you and unleash it into the world. Now, you might be thinking, well, E.T., I don't know if I'm a 12-cylinder. I'm telling you right now, you are. Certain. The problem isn't that you don't have it. The problem is you don't fuel it. You don't tap into it. You don't focus on what truly matters. You're given a fraction of your effort because your why isn't strong enough, because your purpose isn't clear enough. But when that changes, when that lights up, you go from being average to being exceptional. You go from a 4-cylinder to a 12-cylinder, and suddenly skill is no longer the deciding factor. Your will becomes your power. Now, let's talk about what it really takes to fuel that engine, because power alone isn't enough. You could be a 12-cylinder sitting in neutral. You could have all the tools in the world, all the skills, all the talent, and still be stuck spinning your wheels. Why? Because power without purpose is wasted energy. You can lift, you can run, you can shoot, you can grind, but if it's not connected to a deeper reason, if it's not connected to something that lights a fire in your soul, then guess what? You're just operating like everybody else. You're just showing up half-heartedly. And the truth is, most people are operating half-heartedly without even realizing it. Let's be real. How many people do you know that say, I want to be great, but when the alarms go off at 5 a.m., they hit snooze? How many people say, I want to make a difference, but when it comes to putting in the hard work, they find excuse? That's the difference between a 4-cylinder and a 12-cylinder. The 12-cylinder shows up even when nobody's watching, even when it's inconvenient, even when it hurts. Certain, because they're not playing for comfort, they're playing for impact, for legacy, for something bigger than themselves. And that's where most people fail. They want the rewards without paying the price. See, I asked this one kid one time, what do you want? He said, I want to go to the NBA. I looked him straight in the eye and I said, do you really? Most guys don't want the NBA. Most guys want what the NBA represents. They want the money, the fame, the lifestyle, but they're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to get up at 5 a.m., run sprints in the cold, watch film for hours, lift weights until they can't lift anymore, and then show up the next day ready to do all over again. And they want the dream without the grind. But the 12th cylinder, he thrives in the grind. He embraces it. He uses it. He knows that the work is the reward. And here's the part that really separates the champions from the rest, the willingness to endure discomfort. You think the best athletes, the best entrepreneurs, the best leaders got there by doing what's easy. No, they got there by doing what nobody else would do when nobody else would do it. They practiced when they were tired. They studied when they were exhausted. They went above and beyond when everyone else stopped at average. And that's the secret sauce. That's the difference between the average dude with skill and the champion with will. Let me tell you something else. The mind is the key to unlocking that 12th cylinder. Because your body can do incredible things, but your mind decides if you're going to give up, if you're going to quit, if you're going to settle. And most people let their mind sabotage them before they even get started. When you program your mind with purpose, when you visualize what's possible, when you remind yourself every single day why you're doing it, suddenly the discomfort becomes fuel. Suddenly the setbacks become lessons. Suddenly the obstacles become opportunities. That's how a 12th cylinder lives. That's how they move through life with unstoppable energy. And I'll be honest with you, this isn't about being better than the next guy. It's about being better than the version of yourself you were yesterday. Every time you push past fear, every time you push past fatigue, every time you refuse to quit, you're fueling that engine. You're adding cylinders, you're upgrading from 4 to 6 to 8 to 12. And when you operate at 12 cylinders consistently, you don't just compete, you dominate. You don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just exist, you leave a legacy that can't be taken from you, that can't be duplicated, because your engine is unique. Your drive is yours, your purpose is yours, and your power comes from within. Now, let's get into the part that most people ignore, the routine, the discipline, the daily grind that separates the dreamers from the doers. You see, talent will only get you so far. Skill will only take you to the door, but it's the daily action, the relentless consistency that opens the door and carries you through it. Most people are chasing inspiration, waiting for the motivation to strike. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect environment, the perfect opportunity. But the 12th cylinder doesn't wait. The 12th cylinder shows up every single day, no matter how they feel, no matter what's going on, no matter what obstacles are in the way. Here's the reality. Most people don't have a routine because routines are boring, they're predictable, they're repetitive. But that's exactly why they work. It's the repetition that builds momentum. It's the repetition that trains your body, your mind, your willpower, your focus. It's the repetition that turns average effort to extraordinary results. Think about it. If you hit the gym one day a week, you won't get stronger. If you practice your craft here and there, you won't get better. If you go hard in short bursts, you'll burn out. But when you commit, when you consistently show up, when you do the work day in and day out, that's when the magic happens. That's when you upgrade your engine. That's when you go from a full cylinder, because your power becomes unstoppable. And here's where accountability comes in. You can't just have a routine and hope for the best. You need someone or something to hold you accountable, because when nobody's watching, that's when most people fall off. That's when excuses creep in. That's when laziness takes over. You need a system. You need a team. You need a method to check yourself, to track your progress, to measure your effort. And if you do that consistently, you create momentum that compounds. You create a machine that moves forward, one deliberate action at a time, and nobody can stop it. See, success isn't complicated. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's simple because the formula is there. Know what you want, commit to it. Create a routine, be accountable, execute relentlessly. But it's not easy because life will test you. You will be tired, you will be distracted. You will face challenges that try to knock you off your path. And this is exactly where the 4-cylinder falls off. They let the noise, the fear, the doubt control them. But the 12th cylinder embraces the pressure. They thrive under stress. They turn obstacles into fuel. They push harder when it hurts. And they know that every minute of discomfort is an investment in their future. And let me tell you something, routine isn't just about the grind. It's about being intentional with your time. It's about protecting your energy and focusing it on what matters most. That's why I get up at the same time every single day. That's why I have my spiritual time, my physical time, my family time, my work time, my growth time. Every hour has a purpose. Every block of time has meaning. And that's how you create a life where you're not just reacting. You're not just reacting, you're directing. You're thriving. You're building momentum that carries you through every challenge, every setback, every obstacle that comes your way. And here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. The bigger you get, the more you have to stick to your routine. Most people think once you reach a certain level, you can relax. They think success will give them freedom, but freedom without discipline is chaos. The 12th cylinder knows that when your influence grows, your responsibilities grow, and your standards must grow as well. You've got to protect your time, protect your energy, and honor your commitments to yourself every single day. That's how you maintain power. That's how you keep your engine running at full capacity. That's how you dominate consistently. Now let's talk about mindset. Let's talk about purpose, because without purpose, power is wasted energy. You can have all the talent in the world, all the skill, all the physical ability, all the knowledge, but if you don't have purpose, if you don't have something that drives you, you're gonna coast. And coasting is the enemy of greatness. Coasting will put you in the middle of the pack. Coasting will make you someone who almost made it. Coasting will make you someone who blames the system, blames the people around them. Certain blames their circumstances for why they didn't reach their potential. But when you have purpose, when you find that thing that makes your blood boil, when you find that thing that makes you get out of bed even when nobody's watching, that's when the 12th cylinder comes alive. That's when your engine starts firing on all cylinders. I'm talking about that thing so deep inside you that you cannot ignore it. That thing that keeps you up at night, that thing that haunts you, that thing that whispers in your ear. You're meant for more. You're meant for greatness. You're meant to leave a legacy. That's your purpose. And when you lock into that, there's nothing that can stop you. You're not working for applause. You're not working for recognition. You're not working for likes. You're not working for the validation of others. You're working because your purpose demands it. Your engine demands it. That legacy demands it. And every single day, every single action, every single decision must align with that purpose. Now here's what separates the average person from the champion. The average person only goes hard when they feel like it. The average person only shows up when it's convenient. The average person only gives effort when they're inspired. But the 12th cylinder doesn't wait for inspiration. The 12th cylinder creates their own fire. The 12th cylinder shows up every single day, whether they feel like it or not. The 12th cylinder pushes through pain, through fatigue, through doubt, through fear. And every single time you push through, you're building power, you're building will, you're building that unstoppable mentality that allows you to dominate when it counts. And let me tell you something else. Adversity is your friend. The world is going to hit you. Life is going to knock you down. People are going to doubt you. And circumstances will try to make you quit. But adversity is the fuel for your engine. Adversity is the test that separates the 4-cylinder from the 12th cylinder. Adversity is the fire that forges champions. Every time you face a setback and you push through, every time you get punched in the face and you stand back up, every time you fail and refuse to quit, that's when your engine gets stronger. That's when your power multiplies. That's when your will ignites. That's when you become unshakable. So let me ask you, what's your why? What's the reason you're getting up every morning? Is it money? Is it recognition? Is it comfort? Or is it something deeper than that? Because if it's deeper, if it's true, you will endure what the average person won't endure. You will sacrifice what the average person won't sacrifice. You will outwork, outthink, outlast the people around you. You will become a force that cannot be ignored. You will move with purpose, and that purpose will make your engine roar like a 12-cylinder. And here's the thing, I don't care where you come from. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what your family situation looks like. I don't care how many times life has knocked you down. If you find your purpose, if you lock into it, if you let it fuel every action, you will find a way to dominate. You will find a way to rise. You will find a way to make your dreams inevitable. You will go from average to unstoppable. You will go from a 4-cylinder to a 12th cylinder, because power, purpose, and relentless effort will always beat talent when talent doesn't have the will push every single day. Now let's talk about accountability, because here's the truth. Most people fail, not because they don't have talent, not because they don't have a dream, but because they don't hold themselves accountable. You see, accountability is what separates the kids who talk about being great from the kids who actually become great. Accountability is what makes the difference between dreams and reality. You can have the biggest vision in the world, the craziest goals, but if you're not holding yourself to a standard, it's not gonna happen. And I'm not talking about someone else holding you accountable. Yeah, that helps. But if you're not holding yourself accountable every single day, you're gonna settle. You need a routine, you need a plan, you need to know exactly what your day looks like from the moment your eyes open to the moment your head hits the pillow. And it's not about being rigid. It's about being deliberate. It's about creating momentum, because momentum is what separates people who are average from people who are unstoppable. Momentum is what allows you to hit the tree in the same spot 1,000 times. That's how you bring down obstacles, one precise strike after another, hitting the same target every single day. And here's what's crazy: when you create that routine and you hold yourself accountable, when you measure every action, when you reflect on what you did well and what you didn't do well, your power grows exponentially. Every action becomes a building block. Every decision becomes a step toward mastery. Every small win compounds into something massive. That's how champions are made. That's how the 12th cylinder starts to dominate. That's how you go from trying to catch up to leading the pack. Now, let me be real with you. Discipline isn't fun. Discipline isn't easy. Discipline doesn't feel good in the moment. But here's the thing: discipline in the moment equals freedom in the long run. You can suffer now or you can suffer later. You can grind now or you can struggle later, but you can't escape the price. And the people who understand that, the people who embrace accountability, they're the ones who are gonna make it happen. They're the ones who are going to show up when nobody's watching. They're the ones who are going to go through pain, rejection, exhaustion, and still get up and do it again. That's the 12th cylinder mentality. That's what it takes to dominate. And you know what most people do? They make excuses. I don't have time. I have too much going on. Stop lying to yourself. Stop hiding behind excuses. Excuses are the language of the weak. Excuses are the chains that keep you from your potential. And every time you make an excuse, your engine drops a cylinder. Every time you blame someone else, every time you say, "It's not my fault," you lose power. But when you take ownership, when you say, "This is my life, I'm responsible for every outcome, I control my results," you become unstoppable. So here's what I need you to do. Write down your goals, write down your routine, write down the things you're going to do every single day, no matter what. And then check yourself. Measure yourself, reflect every night and ask yourself, did I give 120%? Did I hit my target today? Did I hold myself accountable? Because if you can do that, if you can be honest with yourself and push yourself every single day, your power grows, your engine fires on all cylinders, your 12th cylinder roars, and when your engine roars, nothing and nobody can stop you from achieving your dreams, from creating the life you want, from leaving a legacy that can't be ignored. Remember this: the world doesn't owe you anything. The world doesn't care about your feelings, your excuses, your struggles. But if you hold yourself accountable, if you commit to your purpose, if you grind every single day, the world will recognize you. The world will bend to your persistence. And one day you'll look back and say, I didn't just survive. I didn't just compete. I dominated. And my friend, is what it means to be powered by purpose, accountability, and relentless discipline. Let's talk about routine, because this is where the real champions are made. You see, most people think success is about talent or opportunity or luck. And don't get me wrong, those things matter. But what separates the people who win consistently from the people who just dream is routine. Routine is the engine of greatness. It's the daily grind that nobody sees. Certain, the work you do when the lights are off, the practice nobody applauds, the preparation nobody notices. That's where the power comes from. That's where your 12th cylinder starts firing. You've got to be deliberate with your time. Wake up at the same time every day, not some random time, not I'll get to it when I feel like it. No, consistency is non-negotiable. And it's not about being rigid, it's about creating momentum, creating predictability in your life that forces results. Because when you're consistent, you build trust with yourself. You prove to yourself every day that you are reliable, that you can follow through, that you can endure when it's tough, and that you can excel even when nobody is watching. I don't care if your routine is spiritual. I don't care if your routine is physical. I don't care if your routine is mental. What matters is that you have one and you stick to it. Let me tell you something about me. Every morning I wake up and I hit my spiritual practice first. That's my anchor. I meditate, I pray, I reflect. Why? Because if my mind isn't right, my engine doesn't fire. My energy doesn't flow. My 12th cylinder stays a 4-cylinder. You've got to have that mental clarity, that spiritual strength, that foundation that keeps you grounded. After that, I hit the physical. I work out, I push my body, I challenge myself. And it's not about looking good. It's about discipline. It's about proving to yourself that you can push through pain, fatigue, and laziness to achieve what you set out to do. Because when you can push your body, when you can master your physical self, you gain control over your mind. And when your mind is controlled, your life is controlled, you stop being a passenger and you start driving the car. Then I hit my accountability line. Every day I check in with my team, certain. My group of men, my network, we share our goals, our wins, our losses, and we hold each other accountable. And let me tell you, nothing fires up your 12th cylinder more than accountability. Because when you know someone is watching, when someone is expecting results, you don't cheat yourself, you don't cut corner, you show up fully, you bring everything you got. And here's the truth. The people who succeed, the people who dominate, they do more than everyone else because they know the value of these routines. They wake up when others are sleeping. They grind when others are resting. They reflect when others are distracted. That's what creates unstoppable momentum. That's what turns ordinary into extraordinary. That's what makes the difference between a 4-cylinder life and a 12-cylinder life. So my challenge to you is this: write down your routine, identify the anchors of your day, the pillars that you can rely on, the habits that fuel your fire, and then do it every day. Don't negotiate with yourself. Don't make excuses. Don't wait for motivation. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Consistency is what builds empires. Consistency is what turns your 12th cylinder into a roaring engine that nobody can stop. Remember, the world doesn't hand out success. You have to take it, you have to build it, you have to earn it every single day. And the only way to do that is to honor your routine, to respect your schedule, and to push past every excuse, every distraction, every obstacle. When you do that, my friend, nothing, and I mean nothing, can stand in your way. That's how you go from dreaming to doing. That's how you go from surviving to thriving. That's how you become unstoppable. Let's get real about focus, because focus is the difference between people who talk about their dreams and people who live them. Most people wander through life like zombies. They wake up, scroll, watch, complain, sleep, uncertain, repeat. They don't focus, they don't prioritize. And because their 12-cylinder engine is stuck on idle. That's why you see people with talent fail. That's why you see potential wasted. Focus is your fuel. Focus is your ignition. Focus is what turns preparation into performance. Now, focus doesn't come by accident. It comes from clarity. You've got to know what matters. You've got to define your why so clear, so precise, so sharp that nothing can distract you from it. You see, when I wake up in the morning, I don't think about what's easy. I don't think about what's comfortable. I think about my mission. I think about my purpose. I think about who I'm supposed to impact today. And because I know that every action I take has intention. Every step I take is deliberate. Every conversation, every workout, every video, every call, everything has a target. That's focus, that's control. But here's the problem: most people don't want focus. They want comfort. They want short-term gratification. They want to scroll on Instagram, watch Netflix, play video games, sleep and blame somebody else for why they're not moving forward. And they wonder why they're stuck. They wonder why their engine isn't firing. They wonder why the championship they dream about is still in somebody else's hands. Let me tell you something: dreams don't work unless you do, and focus is the work. Now, then accountability is the next level of focus, because you can set your routine, you can define your why, but if nobody's holding you responsible, if nobody's watching, if nobody knows your score, you'll settle. And settling is the silent killer of greatness. That's why I have my team. That's why I have my men I call every day. That's why I have a prayer line, a check-in report, a scorecard, because accountability forces you to perform. Accountability forces you to show up. Accountability forces you to go beyond what you thought you were capable of. And when you combine focus with accountability, you unleash a 12th cylinder that nobody can stop. But let me break it down even deeper. Your focus and accountability have the title purpose. If your purpose is weak, your engine will sputter. If your why is shallow, your focus will waver. If your mission doesn't move you, you'll never sustain the grind. My purpose, my mission, I wake up every morning to change lives, to inspire, to motivate, to elevate. That's why I get up at 20:30 a.m. That's why I hit the gym even when I don't feel like it. And that's why I record videos at 8:30 a.m. That's why I call my team check in, strategize, plan, execute, because I know my why and I refuse to compromise it. Here's the truth. The world will test you. People will doubt you. Situations will challenge you. Life will push against you. And that's when your focus matters most. That's when your routine matters most. That's when your accountability matters most. That's when your purpose matters most. Because if your 12th cylinder is fully firing, you don't slow down, you don't quit, you don't stop. You push through, you endure, you dominate, you rise when others fall, you excel when others fail. And that, my friend, is what separates the champions from the average. Certain, that is what separates the people who dream from the people who achieve. So I challenge you, define your why, lock in your focus, set up your accountability, and then grind relentlessly. Show up every day, give your all, push past excuses, block out distractions, stay committed to your purpose, stay committed to your routine, stay committed to your mission. And I promise you, when you do that, your 12th cylinder engine won't just fire, it'll roar. And nothing, and I mean nothing, will be able to stop you. Now listen to me, because this is the part most people skip. Uncertain, they want the glory, they want the dream, they want the highlight reel, but they don't want the grind, they don't want the process. They don't want to pay the price. And this is where greatness is separated from mediocrity. This is where the 12th cylinder people leave the 4th cylinder people in the dust. The last part, the ultimate part, is understanding that routine, drive, focus, and purpose are not optional, they are mandatory. If you want your life to change, if you want your destiny to change, you must embrace them fully. Daily, relentlessly. Let's talk about drive for a moment. Drive isn't just motivation. Drive isn't just passion. Drive is a decision. Drive is a commitment to be better than you were yesterday, to show up even when it hurts, even when it's inconvenient, even when nobody's watching. Drive is what makes you get up at 20:30 a.m., hit the treadmill, record the video, answer the calls, do the work over and over and over again. Drive is when you keep your promises to yourself, even when the world doesn't care. Drive is what separates winners from people who just talk. You can have all the skill in the world, but if you ain't driven, your skill won't matter. It won't matter in the first quarter, second quarter, in your career, or in your life. Drive is what takes you from 6'4" to 6'10". Drive is what takes you from average to unstoppable. Now let's tie that to purpose, because purpose is the rocket fuel for your drive. Certain, if you don't have purpose, your drive will burn out. If your why is weak, your focus will weaken. If you don't have something bigger than yourself pulling you forward, you'll quit at the first challenge. Purpose is what got me off the streets. Purpose is what made me stay in school even when I hated it. Purpose is what made me hit the mic the first time and feel like I could change the world. Purpose is what made me wake up every morning, put on my shorts, my hat, my shoes, certain, and go out there and grind. Not because anybody told me to, but because I knew I was called to something bigger. Purpose will make your 12th cylinder engine fire on all cylinders. And when that happens, nothing can stop you. Next is consistency, because consistency is where most people fail. People think one day, 1 week, 1 month of intensity will change their life. It won't. Champions are consistent. Legends are consistent. You have to do the work when you don't feel like it. You have to show up when nobody cares. You have to push through the pain, the boredom, the fatigue, the excuses, and the setbacks. Consistency is what builds momentum. Momentum is what builds confidence. Confidence is what makes you unstoppable. When you combine consistency with focus, accountability, drive, and purpose, you become a force of nature. You become a human hurricane that no obstacle can stop. And here's the final piece. Sacrifice. Sacrifice is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Sacrifice is saying no to distractions, no to comfort, no to the easy way, so you can say yes to your future, yes to your mission, yes to your greatness. You sacrifice sleep. You sacrifice temporary pleasure. You sacrifice excuses. You sacrifice being average. But what you gain is immeasurable. You gain freedom. You gain respect. You gain the power to impact lives, to inspire generations, to leave a legacy that nobody can erase. So here's my challenge to you. Identify your purpose, lock in your focus, build your accountability, embrace your drive, commit to your routine, be consistent, and make the sacrifices necessary. Become a 12th cylinder in a world full of 4 cylinders. Dominate the game. Dominate your career, dominate your life. Don't just show up, show out. Don't just survive, thrive. Don't just dream, execute. Because greatness is not given, it's earned, it's fought for. it's activated, and it's unstoppable when you decide to live like a champion every single day. So what are you waiting for? Wake up, fire up your engine, step into your purpose. 120%, no excuses, no distractions, all in. And when you do that, the world will have no choice but to recognize that you were born to win.